Our guest today is Musa Alderson-Clarke and his film Killing Boris Johnson, a deep-rooted emotional live-action short film from the National Film and Television School and was the only UK film selected for the prestigious La Cinef at Cannes Film Festival 2023. Now, Killing Boris Johnson was conceived at the height of the pandemic and follows the inner turmoil of grieving Kaz, played by Shadrach Agg-o-zino, whose life has been turned upside down by the actions of Boris Johnson's government and under tough COVID restrictions that were in place. Now, the film, written and directed by recent NFTS graduate Musa Alderson-Clarke in collaboration with a team of fellow graduates, including Solomon Golding, alumnus of the school's producing MA. Now, Killing Boris Johnson had its world premiere at Cannes Film Festival and was the only UK short screening from a total of over 2,000 submissions. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome film director Musa Alderson-Clarke to discuss the powerful short film Killing Boris Johnson to the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks for that fantastic introduction as well.
Well, you're very, very welcome. I was very impressed with the film, but I want to kind of start off with, when did you fall in love with film and filmmaking?
I think I've always really enjoyed film. I feel like it's such a powerful, you know, art form. And I almost see it as like a language. So, and it's just something that I kind of inherently felt like I understood. Um, but I didn't realize I wanted to make films until I'd say my early 20s. I wasn't the kind of kid that was making films on Super 8 cameras, but I just kind of always had a deep appreciation. And I think I always understood it inherently. And then I kind of had ambition to do something, and then I realized that my love was film, so I decided to start really give it a go and start making films.
Well, was there a particular film that ignited your passion?
I wouldn't say there was one particular film. I feel like I can say there were a few moments that really kind of kind of made me realize what cinema could be. There's a film called The Diving Bell and the Butterfly by Julian Schnabel, and it's based on the book. And just the form in that film and the filmmaking is just so unique, and it just has a way of kind of really going into your bones. Um, and just watching that, I guess, was something that kind of really made me. It's just one moment. I think there's several moments, but that was one moment that I can kind of remember and just be like, where I kind of realized how powerful filmmaking could be and cinema could be in general.
Well, how did you end up at the National Film and Television School? I mean, is it a difficult school to get into?
Yeah, so the National Film and Television School is quite a difficult school to get into. I think it's the most prestigious in um, the UK for sure, and I think it ranks amongst the top 10 globally as well. So it was pretty difficult to get into, and I never kind of really thought I'd ever go to film school because my background was kind of I just kind of felt like I'd kind of make it come up through the kind of guerrilla filmmaking school. But I think COVID started, and I kind of had an opportunity to take stock, and I just thought it would be a great opportunity just to kind of be able to call on the experience of my tutors who've got like years and years of experience in the industry, and it was a really good choice because it's a good mentor can really be life changing in so many respects, and I met a lot of people there who kind of really helped me and kind of guided me and helped me to realize exactly what I wanted to say and how to say it.
So it's basically helping you to fine tune your gifts, your talents, and abilities in filmmaking.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like I always had something to say as I was going into the school, but what I feel like I got was that they helped me to realize formally and the technical aspects of it. They partnered me with great collaborators, and I think it's a good opportunity for it's a good space for people to constantly be challenging how you work, and that makes you better at articulating how you want to, what you want to say and how you want to say it. And I think what that leads, and I think every director essentially needs that to be able to, um, really efficiently articulate why something is important or why they need something to be a certain way. And I think the school definitely helped me to do that.
Well, and ladies and gentlemen, for all of you watching that are beginning in the areas of filmmaking, directing, maybe even producing, take heed to what Musa's words are all about. Seek that extra education, fine tune your talent, because you never know where it's going to lead you. Now, Musa, I want to ask you, because all of us in America, what was the COVID lockdowns like in the UK, especially for filmmakers?
I feel like it was tough. I feel like maybe the first lockdown that we had was it was all new, and I kind of don't think we realized, because you're kind of in it, you don't realize what the impact is essentially. So I actually have kind of quite a few fond memories of the first lockdown. Not fond, I wouldn't say, but um, like there was a lot of walking, spending time kind of in nature, and kind of having opportunity to slow down and think about your ideas. Um, but then I think once the second lockdown came, it just made me realize, first of all, it was winter, so it was a lot darker, a lot colder, and a lot more just difficult in general. And then it just made me really miss the kind of intimate my intimate relationships, and just being able to speak to people and be close to them, and just having that freedom to kind of just go and spend time with your loved ones. Because yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what was the overall consensus of the people of the UK over Boris Johnson's Partygate? I mean, we had the same problem here in America where every government official said, do what I say, but don't do as I do. And it created a lot of anger.
Yeah, I feel like overall there's a I mean, it's obviously it's unprecedented times for everyone, and we were all going through a lot. People were losing loved ones, and not having the opportunity to spend time with them, which is something I touch on in Killing Boris Johnson. But I feel like, yeah, generally there was a kind of anger at some of the arrogance of our politicians. Um, and almost a kind of hurt that the people that we kind of democratically voted in, well, at least Boris Johnson was voted in. After that, that's another story. But the fact that they would kind of shortchange us in that way, and not really take seriously, not take seriously the situation at hand. Because I've got a story where I've lost a loved one during COVID and didn't get time to spend with them, but there's so many of stories of the same nature as well. And to experience that is quite, disheartening in a way, that the people that are supposed to be looking out for us, or the people that are supposed to be leading us, kind of have a complete disregard for kind of what we were going through. So that's kind of what I was feeling personally, but speaking to other people, they kind of relate to that sentiment as well.
Yeah, even here we lost loved ones where we were not even allowed to go see them and say goodbye. And that leaves an open wound, so to speak. It prevents closure for a lot of family members, even friends who were not allowed to say goodbye. I mean, even my daughter broke her ankle and I wasn't even allowed to go in. I had to stand outside of the hospital in the parking lot and just kind of wait to see how all that was going to play out. So it's very frustrating. Now, with the script on Killing Boris Johnson, was this based on, now I know that it was based on pieces of true events based on what he did, but what about the area of what the area of Kaz's life?
So obviously Kaz is completely fictional in every sense of the word, but there is a I'd say like there is a similarity in that I also lost my mum towards the end of COVID lockdown. Yeah, and I didn't really get an opportunity to be with her. So the feeling it's like that aspect of Kaz I can really relate to. Obviously he goes on to kill Boris Johnson, and that's all fiction, complete fiction. But like I can really relate to the kind of pain and anger and the confusion and trying to make sense and understand your grief. So that is definitely something I tapped into in my own personal life to help me write the character.
Well, sadly, many people, as depicted in the film, many people did take their own lives because of loneliness, being so isolated. A lot of people who really should have never been left alone, especially our seniors and the elderly. They needed to be taken care of, and they had to fend for themselves in many ways. So I can understand that what would actually drive someone to do what the character Kaz set out to do. I mean, we think about those things sometimes, we don't act on them, but we do have that internal anger. So, what was his mindset and an action, a way for us that the viewers to get our anger, our grief out about losing loved ones based on the lack of accountability of our government officials?
Um, yeah, I feel like Kaz's feelings were very drastic. He lost his mum in quite a shocking way. Suicide can often, like be very shocking to people and very confusing in a way because you kind of, like it feels like something that is more easily prevented sometimes. That could be some of the kind of conflicting feelings of grief. When you're kind of trying to contend with someone, a loved one committing suicide. So because his feelings were so drastic and it ultimately this kind of links into COVID as well. He was isolated himself and he was alone a lot of the time. He kind of felt like he had to do something drastic to match the feelings because um, yeah, I think there's that level of helplessness at the fact that these government officials can just essentially can do what they want and not be held accountable, and because of that, Kaz essentially was coupled with the fact that he was grieving the loss of his mum, was very wanting to do something that matched his pain, and I feel like maybe you know I think that pain can be the cause of a lot of decisions and and a lot of actions that people go through.
Well,
Yeah.
Shadrach's acting was excellent. I mean, it's an emotional, it's a powerful film. Um, for all of us, the whole world that went through COVID restrictions, I think everybody has a little piece of them inside a Kaz, and all of us can really relate to all of the different emotions, the anger, the grief, the action that he wanted to carry out. For you writing this script, so it includes a possible assassination of a known government official. How was that plot of the film received?
I think, I mean, in developing it, like through the school and whatnot, they were not, I wouldn't say supportive, but they didn't kind of try and you know stop me from exploring any themes that I wanted to. And as I say, I feel like with the film, it's like that is an extreme thing that Kaz wants to do, and it's it's an unfortunate thing, and I don't wish violence on anyone in any way, shape, or form. Um, but I think when you watch the film, you understand that it's coming from a place of humanity and pain, um, and the idea of killing Boris Johnson is like so beyond, the realm of possibility in a way, um, that it's kind of like he's kind of going on this journey. He's lost all kind of better judgment, and he kind of heads on this journey without that. Um, so yeah, I feel like Kaz, there's been a lot of talk about the title of the film. That it's been made by people on the left that have kind of tried to like it's a propaganda piece essentially. But I wouldn't actually consider myself on the left or the right. I'd actually consider myself more center, and this isn't anything to do with kind of like anti-right politics or anti-conservative politics. It's more an opportunity for us to try and understand what people went through and to mark this time which is unprecedented in British history. And hopefully, what I hope is that it's a tough watch, but I'm hoping that it would be. Sometimes it needs to be a tough watch so that you can start asking the tough questions of each other, and hopefully there can be more of a dialogue between both sides. So that's my intention.
And
So
I
just hope that
agree.
watch it.
I agree, Musa, because when I watched the film, not one time did it ever come to my mind that this was a propaganda piece. Not at all. It was a film in which the emotion is something that every single one of us can feel, we can relate to. There are times in our lives that something happens and we want revenge. We want that vengeance. Sometimes, if you take that action to actually carry it out, you will pay the consequences for what happens. Um, and but not one time did I ever think it as a propaganda piece. But with the title of the film, "Killing Boris Johnson," sure, one side or the other is going to choose it and point a finger at it and try to make it a political piece. But I didn't see it being a political piece whatsoever. I saw it as a film that really based on, I would say technically based on true events, a real government official, but it was stunning. I mean, to be selected to appear at Cannes Film Festival, you cannot discount that. So kudos to you. You did an excellent job.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Thanks for the kind words on the film. We put a lot of work into it, um, and a few people have watched it. And going back to kind of what I was saying at the beginning is like, film is so powerful. Like it really has the potential to touch so many different people. And for me as a filmmaker, I just never want to take that lightly. And like if I get an opportunity to make a film, I want to make sure that I'm being honest and raw, and hopefully can start any conversation. Or so for you to connect to the film means a lot to me as a filmmaker. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And I loved Shadrach Agg-o-zino's acting. And one of my favorite things in certain films is watching an actor who is the focal point of the film. And the majority of the time, he has to act by himself. He's not feeding off another character in a scene. He has to pull everything out of himself to bring forth the message, the character, the emotion, the plot line, all by himself. And Shadrach did this with such brilliancy. How did you cast him?
Yeah, Shadrach is a talent. He's a very talented actor, very intuitive and very sensitive as well. to a character. How did we cast him? We had a casting director, and for me, it was important that he was of mixed heritage. Reason being is that I kind of it's like I know that world inherently, so it was just easier for me to direct that. So yeah, it was important, and we did a lot of like tapes, but a lot of the tapes we'd get back were kind of I feel like actors were kind of reading Kaz as a bit more of a maniac and kind of distancing themselves from him, and it was like they were kind of really playing up the humor of it in a way. But Shadrach's tape immediately, I just saw that he really tapped into the humanity of the lead character, and was really I really understood that I really saw that he understood that this character is deeply hurting, and for me that was just it was just kind of like it's kind of you when um, so we got him in and then he came in to read for it, and straight away just to double check, and just straight away I just knew that he understood who the character was. And also I think an important thing is finding someone that is as passionate as you as well. Like as a director, you're always super passionate about the project, and like when you find people that match your energy, it's a real blessing. So for him to to firstly get the character inherently, and I knew he understood it just from his tape, and then see that he was so dedicated to really committing to the project, it was just like gold. And then he's talented as well, so it was just perfect.
Well, he was, I mean, even from the very first scene, he just grabbed that character. And you knew, when he talked about his mother or grandmother that committed suicide because she was lonely during the pandemic, during the lockdowns. And you saw the frustration, the irritability, the anger, and just trying to make sense of it all. I mean, it was an Oscar performance in my book because you felt every fiber of his character and every emotion, and you just can't get better than that. Now, Musa, was the film? Did you have to film this during the pandemic? And if so, how did you get it done?
So it's actually a blur now, but I think no, I think it was towards the end of the pandemic. So I don't think we went into another lockdown after our shoot, but there was still kind of COVID protocols in place. But at this time, the vaccine had come out, so everyone was fully vaccinated. And it was just more about if you test for COVID, and if you had COVID, then you wouldn't come to set. So yeah, it was after lockdown, so it was actually okay. There was no kind of COVID restrictions when we
Well,
were making it.
how was the film itself received at Cannes?
Yeah, it was. I feel like it was really well received, and it was. I had a good few people come up to me and who really connected with the film and said that they were just happy to. They really connected to it in an emotional way, and for me, if one person comes up to me and says that, I'm over the moon, because yeah, it was good. It was good. But also there was a someone from London, from like a similar area to where I grew up in Cannes, just randomly just turned up, and he came to see the film, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm so glad. I really relate." Like he really like understood it, and like got felt like it was very true reflection of like where we're from as well. So that was also a very kind of heartwarming moment as well. Yeah, but mostly the film was really well received. People really enjoyed it.
Well, can the general public see the film, or are you still submitting this film to other film festivals?
Yeah, so we're still Cannes was its world premiere, and we're looking to get into a few other film festivals as well. Um, we're talking to a few festivals at the moment to get a North American premiere, and then we want to also do we want to do a big one in London as well. And I would like people to come and see it in the cinema. But then as soon as that's done, I do want to get out online, because I feel like it's a film that people kind of need to see. And I'm not, yeah, I feel like people can relate to it, whether they see it in a cinema or online, or, so as soon as I'd say from maybe about just over a year, it will be online. Yeah.
Well, what is next for Musa Alderson-Clarke?
So I'm developing some feature film ideas, so like longer form projects, kind of similar themes as Killing Boris Johnson in a way. Not the same film, but like maybe done with a different touch. But I've always been interested in kind of films that are socially and politically charged and feel quite urgent and pressing and of the time. So I'm exploring some ideas. I'm enjoying the festival run. I'm enjoying the Cannes, and hopefully someplace in, maybe I'll be in LA soon, or I don't know, enjoying it there. But I'm kind of really feeling energized to get back writing again, and explore some of the characters in my head.
Well, you definitely have a long, successful future ahead of you in film and filmmaking. And ladies and gentlemen, Killing Boris Johnson is not a propaganda film. It is a film of human emotion that every single one of us can relate to. It's a powerful film. Again, it's very emotional from many points of view. And in the wake of the notorious Partygate scandal in the UK, the character Kaz decides that then Prime Minister Boris Johnson should be held accountable, coming up with a plan to kill him, because he lost his mother to suicide, and because she was left alone during the strict UK COVID lockdowns. Now, the 24-minute film is a thought-provoking cinematic piece of art that explores grief, anger, and accountability. Now, we want to thank you, Musa Alderson-Clarke, for sharing your incredible film, Killing Boris Johnson, with us today. And we want to thank the National Film and Television School in the UK as well. Musa, I want to thank you again for just coming onto the show and sharing this powerful film.
No, thanks for having me. It's been really nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for watching the Ward Bond Show. And you can also watch the replay on this TV interview with Musa Alderson-Clarke and the powerful film Killing Boris Johnson on our YouTube channel on Bond on Cinema. So I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.